Hi everyone. Wow, we're quickly losing light here, so I'm going to make this very quick. Today we are covering a tutorial that has been requested. I recently did a declutter video, which I'm sure you've all seen by now. And in that video, I referred to a discovery set, which was effectively all rollerballs. And I suggested that I might decant those into atomizers, which led to a couple of people contacting me and asking me if I can do a tutorial on how to decant out of rollerball bottles. And then I guess I just figured, well, if I'm going to do that, I may as well take you through the main methods that I use to decant my fragrances. I'm usually only decanting small amounts because mostly I decant for myself. And usually that's just when I want to travel somewhere, which obviously right now I am not traveling anywhere. But also I do decant for friends and other FragCom members that are local so that we can exchange different fragrances and discover new things that we might not easily be able to access through our department stores or local perfumeries. So there are three main methods. The last one is a more recent discovery, and that has been an absolute game changer. But first of all, before I get into the methods of decanting, I thought I would cover off on the actual original question that was asked, which was how on earth do you get perfume out of rollerball bottles? Okay, so here I have three different rollerballs. I thought it would be good to show you that it works with pretty much any rollerball bottle. This is just a decant that somebody gave me, which is of Marc Jacobs Decadence, I think. And here we have a rollerball of Mojave Ghost, which is a perfume oil from Byredo. We also have a rollerball of one of the perfumes from L'Occitane, but I can't remember which one it is right now, and I can't read it through this lens. The easiest way I find to get rollerballs out of the top of a rollerball bottle is to simply take the lid off, hook it back on loosely, and then very gently, just at an angle, very gently apply pressure. And this one's actually proving me to be a liar because it's actually making it quite difficult, but there we go, the lid is off. So this is the Byredo one. Again, just take the lid off, gently apply it at an angle, and there you have it, the lid just comes off. And then of course here's a decanter bottle which will do the exact same thing. So you'll notice that they're all a little bit different, but pretty much one common thing that all of these roller bottles have in common is that this bit here is generally some kind of rubber or plastic. So it's usually a little bit pliable. So that was how you get perfume out of, or rollerballs out of perfume bottles to then decant. Then you can just go in with like a normal pipette like this, and it's a bit hard to see because I have a white table, but yeah, you could just use a pipette to actually extract the perfume and then simply put the lid back on. Now, the other method is to actually use a funnel. This is another popular method that I have used and still use sometimes when I'm being lazy. So basically with this, you don't really have to do anything to tamper with the perfume bottle itself. All you need to do is simply place the funnel into the sample vial and spritz your perfume into the funnel. The downside to this is that depending on the sprayer of the perfume bottle, you can get a lot of splashback out of when it hits the angle of here, and so you sort of have to play around with the angle to get it right so that it doesn't splash out so much, and sometimes it's just unavoidable altogether no matter how hard you try. The other thing too is you get a lot of misting when you spray perfume into a little atomizer this way. So first of all, if I'm decanting a few, I end up with a massive headache because I end up with this mist of fragrance in the air just from it just sort of hitting the sides and misting up again. So that's okay, that method, but it's not great. So the next method I've seen people use is a good old syringe. Now, I've had varying levels of success using a syringe. First of all, some people have talked about using a needle and then inserting it effectively down the atomizer tube. Don't recommend that. I believe you can actually destroy the atomizer by doing that. The other method is to use a tool to sort of expand, or I use a fork, but use a tool to try and widen this little aperture here at the top, which you can't see. And then what you do is you remove, clearly I've done this previously, remove the little atomizer tip off the perfume bottle and press down on the tube as though you were spraying, and then pull the plunger back, and then whilst you're depressing the tube so that the perfume can escape into the syringe. This has worked really well. I think I used this one for Oud Vanille because I labelled it being a good decanter, but I tried to do the exact same method with a different fragrance a few months ago when I had to do a big decant for a friend of mine. She wanted 30 mils of my 100 ml bottle, and I didn't particularly relish the thought of sitting there spraying 30 mils worth of perfume down a funnel. So I thought I'll use a syringe and I will be able to extract, up to 10 mils at a time, and it'll only take 3 or 4 goes to get the 30 mils. But it didn't work. I think the atomizer worked differently somehow, or for whatever reason, I just couldn't create the suction, I guess, with this particular syringe, and yeah, it was a complete fail. So that was disappointing. I don't use this very often because A, I'm usually not decanting large amounts, and B, it still is quite fiddly and quite difficult depending on the perfume bottle that you have. Now, the last method is a recent discovery. So they come in 2 little bits, and there's no specific name for these things. I'll put the link down below. You'll be able to see it yourself. I think they just call it some nondescript thing like perfume decant something or other. But it's a little tube and a little sort of atomizer head here. You put them together just like that. And then again, you remove the atomizer tip off your perfume bottle. This just fits over the top like that. And then you just simply, just like that, done. Sample prepared. Put your lid on and you're good to go. So at this point I encountered some audio issues and I am having to record a voiceover. Basically what I was talking about here was the fact that these little devices, whilst very useful, are not actually that environmentally friendly because they are plastic. And so for that reason, I do use them sparingly. I don't use them every time. I tend to just use them if I have to do larger decants that tend to get messy and mist a lot and cause headaches and things like that. I also will reuse them if I'm just decanting for myself. And what I do is I clean them straight away, basically, before they dry. I will immediately spritz water through it and then put isopropyl alcohol through it as well to clean it out and thoroughly dry it. And when I do that, I don't detect any fragrance remaining in the tube, but over time, being plastic, it will absorb aroma chemicals and it probably will absorb fragrance, and you won't be able to reuse them forever. But for the purposes of how I use them, it's fine. And again, I just try to use them sparingly because they're obviously not an environmentally sustainable option. I wish there was something like this that was made out of glass because I think that would just be ideal. So we have officially lost the light, but that is my little tutorial on decanting fragrances. I hope you found that useful. And again, like I said, I only really decant for myself or my local friends who just want to try something new. So it's not like I'm having to set up a professional production line here. So there are probably still much better methods out there for doing this. Feel free to leave some suggestions in the comments if there's anything or any other methods that you use that are better or also very useful. And of course, I will link all of these things in the description box down below, so that if you want to try and find these things, as I said, this thing really didn't have a name. It was just some kind of generic sort of keywords. If you want to use the link, you can, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can go look for them yourself. So that's it from me today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
We were young and we were free and running, never bothered about what could be coming. Every day we danced and life was smiling.